Good morning. Thank you for attending our national press conference. My name is Prabha Mitchell, and I am the CEO of WESK, Women Entrepreneurs of Saskatchewan. Welcome to another historic day in our province. In September of 2019, we announced the 12 members that comprise the Saskatchewan Advisory Committee, tasked with developing recommendations to build a conducive climate in our province to support women entrepreneurs scale. Today, we release the final report, the culmination of the efforts of this committee. These 12 stellar leaders, entrepreneurs, and change agents volunteered their time to shape and influence the province for the future. A future wherein women entrepreneurs achieve scale in their business, thus boosting economic growth and prosperity in our province. Women entrepreneurs contributed $23.1 billion to the GDP in 2019 and created approximately 192,000 jobs. This accounts for 26% of our total GDP and 33% of the workforce in our province. These numbers can be amplified. Yes, they can be amplified with concerted, focused, and innovative strategies to support women entrepreneurs in our province. The report clearly establishes the correlation between scaling women-owned businesses and economic growth in our province. The Saskatchewan Advisory Committee's recommendations are categorized into 4 priority areas for action, namely 1, enhancing access to capital, 2, developing scale-enabling policies, 3, streamlining access to data, programs, and networks, and 4, enhancing awareness and support by building momentum. I'll take a few minutes now to highlight one recommendation under each of these 4 categories. In relation to enhancing access to capital, the committee recommends creating incentives for angel investors and lending institutions to provide access to capital and financial support to women-owned and women-led businesses in our province. Research reveals women are less likely to secure capital than their male counterparts because they evaluate it differently due to bias in their performance, towards their performance and their success. This creates a significant funding gap between men and women. The primary reason cited for this bias is the lack of female investors and leaders on the decision-making teams. We also know through research that companies with at least one female founder outperformed all male-founded teams by 88% over a course of few years. In fact, medium-sized businesses owned by women outperform revenues achieved by male-owned businesses in Saskatchewan. Supporting women-owned and women-led businesses can be a lucrative investment. 2, in relation to developing scale-enabling policies, the committee recommends developing and monitoring measures through a Women Entrepreneurship Economic Scorecard. Effective decision-making and policy implementation requires sound data and research. Recent reports, such as the Women Entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan Economic Statistics, provides a benchmark against which future progress can be measured. While specific targets have not yet been defined, for Saskatchewan to lead the nation, measures need to be monitored. Measures should include, but not be limited to, total number of women-owned businesses, total percentage of women-owned businesses, total number of medium and large businesses owned by women, women entrepreneurs' contribution to the GDP, and the total number of new jobs created by women-owned businesses. 3, in relation to streamlining access to data, programs, and networks, the committee recommends developing and building a digital entrepreneurship hub for women entrepreneurs. One of the greatest challenges for all entrepreneurs is navigating the entrepreneurial ecosystem and leveraging relevant available resources, programs, and services. The hub will connect women entrepreneurs to resources, programs, and services in a timely manner. Once again, there's evidence to support the notion that access to mentors and networks enhances business outcome and financial performance. This online hub will also link women to mentors and subject matter experts in a virtual environment. The digital nature of the hub eliminates barriers to access such as distance, accessibility, childcare, and financial resources. And lastly, in relation to enhancing awareness and support by building momentum, the committee recommends the development of a charter to build a pool of champions of business leaders and organizations. Women entrepreneurs need successful business leaders and organizations to serve as powerful influencers of change. A commitment to fostering a climate conducive to women entrepreneurs to scale requires awareness of the economic impact of women entrepreneurs in our province. A charter publicly affirms a commitment to advance women entrepreneurship and promote growth, scale, and productivity. Notwithstanding the social imperative of advancing gender equality and equity, the implications for economic development are incontrovertible and irrefutable. The implementation of the recommendations in the report will accelerate the achievement of the targets defined in our province's growth plan, the next decade of growth. Saskatchewan has evidenced leadership by virtue of creating the advisory committee to undertake its mandate. The province has a remarkable opportunity to lead. The province has a remarkable opportunity to lead the country in achieving our vision. Our vision is one wherein Saskatchewan is the preeminent province for women to start, grow, and scale their business. Saskatchewan is the preeminent province for women to start, grow, and scale their business. Investing in women entrepreneurs is not only the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do. In closing, I want to thank the Government of Saskatchewan for its leadership in the creation and endorsement of this committee, and in particular, I want to thank the Honourable Tina Beaudry-Mellor for her support and engagement. WESK is forever grateful, honoured, and humbled by the participation of the 12 members who were strident in their commitment, in their passion, and in their action. You will hear from them shortly. I would also like to acknowledge the financial support of PFM Capital, Drummond Group of Companies, and PIC for this initiative. Finally, sincere appreciation to Connexus Credit Union, Hill and Levine Schools of Business, and the Women Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub for funding the WESK Commission report, Women Entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan, Economic Statistics. Thank you, and now let's take pause and hear from the members of the Saskatchewan Advisory Committee.
Women entrepreneurs are an integral part of the business fabric of Saskatchewan. The work of this committee was to do a deep dive into barriers and to opportunities so women in business can flourish, grow, and prosper, which in turn will help the province. Our recommendations are very reflective of how the current climate needs to change, and we hope to see changes that we've suggested occur just to help all of our province prosper and help women across this whole province also prosper and their businesses.
I was so honored to be part of this committee, and my experience was extremely positive. The committee worked exceptionally well together. It was impressive to see so many entrepreneurs with varied backgrounds and experience come together and work together for the greater good and create meaningful and achievable recommendations that, when put into place, will positively affect every single entrepreneur in Saskatchewan, and it will positively affect the province as a whole. I'm very proud of the work we have done, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for women entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan.
It was incredible to have the opportunity to participate in this deeply meaningful work that is not only leading the province of Saskatchewan, but actually our entire country, and likely even beyond that. There is no greater satisfaction than doing work that creates meaningful, lasting change. As a society, we have come so far towards gender equality, and this work for female entrepreneurs will only move that dial even further. I'm looking forward to seeing the implementation of these recommendations and the positive impact that it will have on our economy as we continue to grow forward as a province.
Well, there were a few surprises in the PwC report. In 2019, women-led businesses made a $23 billion contribution to Saskatchewan's GDP and employed nearly 200,000 employees. And women led approximately 30% of all businesses in this province. But women are less likely to lead a business as the size of the business increases. And it was really that statistic that validated and aligned with our committee's focus around scale. It is so important to understand how we can eliminate the barriers that exist to scale for women entrepreneurs, and I'm really excited about the recommendations for specific initiatives to support women in scaling up their businesses. There's a vision here for Saskatchewan to lead the country in women entrepreneurship, and this work is key in establishing that leadership position.
Men should be involved in this initiative for a number of reasons. First, this is a massive economic opportunity for the province of Saskatchewan. Only 13.7% of businesses are majority female-owned versus 17% in Canada's best province in this metric, which is Ontario. In 2019, Premier Scott Moe put forward Saskatchewan's plan for growth. That plan has very aggressive targets for the growth of job creation and economic outcomes in this province. And in order for us to hit those growth targets, we need to think a little bit differently. And helping more women grow and scale companies is something that will allow more of us to participate in economic growth in this province. And this is not a zero-sum game, because a woman growing a company does not mean that a man will not have the opportunity. Just because a woman is growing a business does not mean that a man can't also be growing a business. So if we improve the outcomes for women such that we have more women growing and scaling businesses in this province, it will actually improve our economic growth in this province. And when we have improved economic growth rates, we will have a higher standard of living for everyone. On top of all of that, when my daughter grows up, if she decides to go into business, she should have the same opportunity to grow and scale that business as my son. And I think that all men really believe the same thing, that the women in their lives should have those same opportunities as the men.
Data tells us that in 2019, over $23 billion was contributed to the Saskatchewan economy by women-owned businesses, creating over 190,000 jobs. This is really significant. We also know that women-owned businesses do not achieve the same level of growth as male-owned businesses, and this is a gap that we want to address. Saskatchewan has a very aggressive growth plan, and we feel that by addressing these gaps, we can help achieve these targets. So our committee looked at all the factors that contribute to barriers facing women-owned businesses, and we determined that access to capital is a huge barrier. So we have 4 recommendations to meet this. Our first one is to incentivize angel investors to invest in women-owned businesses. Our second is, while building on the current infrastructure we already have in WESK, we want to develop a digital hub. This hub will connect women-owned businesses with people, programs, and opportunities to help them grow their businesses. It will also act as a way of collecting data so that we can then analyze where these businesses are at and help recognize when they're on that road to scaling and be able to provide the right sorts of supports and opportunities to those businesses at the right time. And furthermore, the hub can help connect people who want to invest with those women-owned businesses that are looking for investors. We also feel it's important to source new streams of financing through funding institutions like banks, credit unions. There needs to be dedicated pools of funds for women entrepreneurs. And finally, WESK needs to continue to offer programs such as the Founders Table to help encourage more females to become founders of their own companies. We believe that by addressing the access to capital barrier, female-owned businesses can contribute significantly to the Saskatchewan economy.
When we thought about the many challenges facing a young scaling business, we really wanted to tackle the tough issues that impede businesses from growing. Where we landed as a group was around key issues such as acquiring talent, accessing those early angel funds and knowledgeable mentors, and managing that work-life balance. These are challenges that all business owners will face, and we feel that by focusing on these issues, we can really drive impact and assist in reaching Saskatchewan's growth objectives by 2030.
So as a committee, we really wanted to dive into what already exists out there, whether there's programming, networks, and then what data sources are there that we can connect all three of these points to really drive the economy with what is already available to us. Having access to data is extremely important, and it is going to allow us to be able to measure the success and set us up for future success as well. So it's very important for us to streamline access to data and networks, as it allows us to have an opportunity to measure truly what is working and what we need to move forward from. So really as a committee, we really worked on understanding what data is and what it can do to drive our economics. And so it's important to access what already exists. And when we look at what's going on, there's so many different networks and there's so many different organizations. And by having data to connect these things together, it gives us an opportunity to really explore how to be stronger as one instead of all these little groups all over the place.
Our province has stories of growth, determination, and resilience through the women who have founded, built, and grown local enterprises. Those same women in 2019 contributed $23 billion to the economy of Saskatchewan and created over 191,000 jobs right here. There are stories within those numbers that are inspiring and compelling, and we are passionate that by creating awareness about the contribution and unique value proposition of female entrepreneurs within our province, that we can impact greater scale for female entrepreneurs and ultimately create economic growth and sustainability for everyone in the province.
So our committee's report to the government included our recommended action items to address the mandate of gender equality in entrepreneurship. So some of the following measures that the committee has outlined in our report that we feel are very important in the next steps are refining the tools and programs recommended in our report, developing a comprehensive implementation, resourcing, and evaluation of the plan, working with our partners to create a timeline for the execution of the plan, and identifying lead agencies for these actions.
What I like most about our strategy on realizing the full potential of women entrepreneurs, women-owned businesses, and women-led businesses is that our strategy makes business sense. In order to achieve the growth objectives in the new economy in the next decade, women are key to achieving our target. This is not a let's do this because it's socially the right thing to do. I like the fact that it's let's do it because it delivers a no-brainer business case that's positive. In order to influence government's implementation of policy changes, we have to mobilize and be ready to take action. We have to create a movement, a parade. Government officials love parades, especially when the parade goers are cheering them on. We want to mobilize women entrepreneurs to get involved, collect their data, show their impacts, and enlist the support of all entrepreneurs. Our Saskatchewan entrepreneurial ecosystem is vibrant and strong. and business leaders will get behind this and support the cause. The initiative makes so much sense that will create the environment that government will want to do it and do it quick. A network of support far beyond women businesses is an effective way to mobilize the actions of government. Of course, we will be realistic about how fast we can act and how much we can change, and we'll take deliberate steps to improve the networks available to our women businesses to access capital, knowledge, and access technology and innovation solutions to further their businesses. Step by step, we're going to enact the plan hand in hand with government and all other stakeholders. I'm very excited to get started.
Effective policy decision-making requires a benchmark, or in the case of the committee, a Women Entrepreneurship Economic Scorecard, which future development and progress can be measured. To this end, the committee recommended the following. First, it's important to define what measures and metrics will be used to capture both short and long-term policy outcomes. And second is the implementation of an effective monitoring mechanism and process to assess and evaluate future progress.
I hope you enjoyed that video. I would now like to call on the Honourable Tina Beaudry-Mellor, Minister for Status of Women, Minister of Advanced Education, and Minister responsible for Innovation Saskatchewan.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for your patience. It's great to be here with Prabha and all of you who are joining us virtually for Women Entrepreneurs Saskatchewan Economic Advisory Committee's report, Enabling Scale in Saskatchewan. You know, it was about a year ago, maybe a little more, where Prabha and the board chair, Jill Poulton, sat down with my team from the Status of Women and I at the table in my office to talk about women in the Saskatchewan economy. And we mused aloud about how we could amplify the third of women in our province who are entrepreneurs. I want to thank Prabha and the team at WESK for realizing that vision, along with some pretty formidable members of our advisory team. I also want to especially thank Jessica Kilbride, the Executive Lead for Innovation Enterprise in the Ministry of Advanced Education, who's been an important liaison for me throughout the committee's work. The task was pretty straightforward. We knew that Saskatchewan runs on small businesses. Indeed, 99% of all business enterprises in this province are small business. We also knew that Saskatchewan had one of the highest rates of female entrepreneurship in all of the provinces in Canada, and saw that as an opportunity we could leverage for further impact. Our goal was never to increase the number of female entrepreneurs only for the sake of representation, though that's important too. Our goal was really to capitalize on the $23.1 billion that they contributed to the Saskatchewan economy last year, and to help that contribution grow. Over the course of this work, we also learned a few other very important insights. One was that despite the number of female entrepreneurs here, women-owned businesses have been characterized by slower growth and lower profitability. At the same time, however, they are more likely to headquarter in our province and are more labor-intensive rather than capital-intensive, which means they are important and efficient local job creators. Our goal then was to find out what we could do to help women-led businesses scale up, and in so doing add profitability and employees to their enterprises. This in turn would help us meet and reach a number of our growth plan targets in this province. We have also paid close attention, both through this work and through the ongoing work of Innovation Saskatchewan, to the kinds of industries that women currently choose to create businesses in. We note that many are in service-related industries, and many of those are vulnerable to increasing digitization. This has been amplified by COVID-19. The recent release of the Sask Interactive study of the tech sector in Saskatchewan noted the high earnings potential of that sector, and we know that there are not enough women in the STEM fields in our post-secondary institutions or in our tech companies. WESK and Innovation Saskatchewan, as well as our 2 incubators and accelerators, have been working hard on this through initiatives like the Founders Tables, which focus on amplifying the role and opportunity for female tech entrepreneurs in this growing industry in Saskatchewan. What has emerged from the work of our advisory committee is a roadmap of actions and strategies to address barriers to growth faced by women entrepreneurs in Saskatchewan. Those actions revolve around strategies to increase access to venture capital, policies in scaling, measurement and reporting, and building awareness of the role women-led businesses play and can increasingly play in the economic life of this province. I also want to say here that actually this is a pretty proud moment for me on a personal level. When I got elected, I always hoped for the opportunity to be able to work on something like this, and here we are. So thank you for that. Our next steps will be to work with WESK and industry partners to begin to prioritize and implement their recommendations or to amplify work that is already happening. One of those recommendations is the use of a scorecard to keep track of how women-led businesses in our province are faring. I believe that we are the only province in Canada to be doing that. We have a vision and a roadmap, and now we're going to get to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. WESK and our other partners are excited about what lays ahead. As I said, we have the vision is for Saskatchewan to be the preeminent province for women to start, grow, and scale their business, and we will get there. Thank you for attending this press conference. Take care, stay safe, and stay healthy.